Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Gendera. I'm Gerwin, and I've been saying for a while that I was going to do an update on my health and how things were going, and I've just been putting it off and putting it off and putting it off. Sorry. So I've got Graves' disease, which Graves' disease is an autoimmune disease that your immune system tells the thyroid to produce more thyroid hormone, and it also, with a small number of people, like 3% out of everyone that gets 3% of everyone that gets Graves gets the thyroid eye disease, so they call it TED. It causes swelling behind in the membranes and the mucus and all the stuff behind your eyes. So it's what's causing this eye to be a little bulgy. So I don't know if you can tell, I'm definitely not symmetrical at the moment, but there are times when this eye gets all red and puffy and the eye kind of like bulges out. This one, the eyelid tends to become droopy, but it tends to be worse in the mornings. But the other thing it's doing is it's giving me double vision, which is a very big problem. Now, I've had this since May, and it is causing me significant problems not being able to drive, being on a rural property. And the doctors did have me on some selenium for a little while, and that can help with mild thyroid eye disease, but it didn't seem to be making much appreciable difference. So the ophthalmologist suggested that I start a clinical trial, which was supposed to be an alternative treatment from the way she was presenting it, because the only other option available to me is ultra high dose of steroids intravenously, which could cause psychosis and could cause roid rage, and other issues with steroids, which I would really rather avoid like the plague if I can. Now, my clinical nutritionist back in May and multiple times beforehand has suggested that going on a low reactive diet would be very beneficial for me and could potentially help. And my body does respond incredibly well to the low reactive diet. Now, I'll leave a link up there, I'm not sure which way it'll be, to a video that I did that explains what the low reactive diet is. But it's basically gluten-free, dairy-free, lactose, alcohol-free, caffeine-free, sugar-free, amines-free, sulfites-free, preservatives-free, all those. It's basically flavour-free. Although I am allowed to add a few things in. I'm allowed to use salt and pepper. I'm allowed to use parsley, and I'm allowed to use pepper. Oh, sorry, I said that, and basil. But I'll let that video explain it too, because I've gone through it in a lot more detail. Now, I haven't spoken to my clinical nutritionist yet, but I need to go back on the diet again. Now, what's just happened, and what is making this more important, is I did get approved to go on the clinical trial, and they started the process doing all the pre-screening and all that sort of stuff, and then at the last minute they did blood tests on Tuesday morning, and my liver function was not functioning properly. My gamma GT levels were up over 107, and healthy range is considered 5 to 35. In May it was 88, and then on Tuesday it was 107. So I've been excluded now from the clinical trial, so that is no longer an option. I don't have another appointment with the ophthalmologist until mid-January, I think it is, which I've still got to figure out a way to get there. There's just so many things causing me challenges at the moment with not being able to drive. It's a real challenge. It's really, really huge, especially being on a rural property 20 minutes from my closest town, and there's no public transport here. But anyway, so the main thing of the low reactive diet is it de-stresses my liver, and my liver just responds really well to being de-stressed. The other thing I've been having problems with is one of the symptoms of Graves' disease is rapid weight loss. which I haven't been having. I haven't been having any rapid weight loss, but my thyroid is responding very well to the carbimazole that they've got me on, and it is not producing as much excess thyroid hormone now, so they've been decreasing my carbimazole. And in the last 3 weeks I've actually put on 7 kilos, and I haven't really changed my eating at all. My endocrinologist thinks that I was actually having a faster metabolism before, and now my metabolism has slowed down, and that's why I'm now putting on the weight. So I need to do something about that rapidly, because I am now the heaviest I've ever been in my life, and that is really not good. It's causing some major problems for lots of different things. So I really need to go on this low reactive diet. I did a body test on the, I did a weight test on the Wii earlier. I'll leave a video for that here. Good morning everyone, welcome to Jandera. I'm Carolyn, and this morning I'm going to attempt to do a quick weigh-in on the Wii. I've just been excluded from the clinical trial that I was looking at putting me on for my eyes, and because of a liver function issue. So me being me, the first thing I'm going to do is go onto the low reactive diet. So the other problem I've been having is I've had some pretty rapid weight gain in the last 3 weeks, which is a big problem, as in I've put on about 7 kilos in 3 weeks. So my body is not coping with life, the world and the universe. The endocrinologist thinks it might be that my metabolism was actually high before. I need to do something with those batteries. But at the moment I'm just going to weigh myself quickly. I might come back later and do a body test. But yeah, my liver function in May, the gamma GT was up at 88. When they did it on Tuesday, it was 107. So that is really bad. The low reactive diet is something that works really well, has worked really well for me in the past. I just don't like it. I really struggle with it. I find it difficult to stick to. Let's see how the weight is going. I'm expecting up around 140. At least over 135 anyway. When they checked it on Tuesday it was 137, but it was a different set of scales. So my centre of gravity is good. That's one thing that breaking my leg has really helped. It's actually significantly improved my balance. Yeah, it's gone up. So my weight at the moment is 136 according to the Wii. So yeah, I will be back a little bit later to do probably the body test. Yeah. This is not good. This is not the direction I want my weight to be going. So yeah, my endocrinologist thinks it might be that because my thyroid is starting to, I'm just going to put that down, because my thyroid is not overactive as much anymore, my metabolism's dropped. So I'm going to stop that for now. But yeah, the weight gain has been concerning me for a couple of weeks. So it's, let's see if I can put that on weight. So it has significantly gone up since September. Oops, sorry, bad aim. So this is really, really not good, and it's been concerning me significantly. But my thyroid's starting to be less overactive, so my metabolism has decreased. So I've got to do something. And my something is I go back on the low reactive diet and try to stick to it as best I can. Anyway, I'll be back soon and I'll show you the other blood results. So I haven't gotten back to the body test yet, but so yeah, the weight's up over 136. It was 137 on Tuesday when I was at the clinical trial. So, but being weighed at different times, so, and on different scales, so yeah. So what I'm doing, I really struggle with doing a low reactive diet. I find it an incredibly difficult diet to do. It is very difficult to find foods that I can eat if you go out, so it makes going out incredibly difficult. I really struggle when people around me are eating things and I know I'm not allowed to eat it. I just find it very, very hard. So I really need some encouragement and support from my community. So my counsellor has suggested that I turn it around and stop saying I have to do it and choose to do a 28-day low reactive challenge. So that's what I'm doing. I'm doing a 28-day low reactive diet challenge. And I'm going to allow myself to have Christmas Day and New Year's Day as free days that I'm allowed to eat. But yes, it's a very, very big challenge. I've gotten myself a new Samsung watch, and it's been monitoring my heart rate and all that sort of stuff, and my heart rate is starting to go up again, which is definitely not a great thing. I'm already taking beta blockers to help control that, so I'm not quite sure how high it would be if I wasn't doing that. So at the moment I have some significant challenges, but the good side is my bursitis, I don't have the bursitis playing up as much in my hips anymore, although I have to be careful on what I do and how I do it to make sure that I don't. And I'm not getting the same problems with the plantar fasciitis as I was either. The physio that I've been seeing to recover from the broken leg last year gave me some really good exercises to help the plantar fascia, and it seemed to work really, really well. I'll see if I can show them to you. Hang on. So sorry about the fancy footwear, but basically she got me to lift my big toes, do that 10 times, then lift the other toes, do that 10 times, then I'm to lift my feet, do that 10 times, then lift my ankles, do that 10 times, and then there was an exercise strap that I had to put around my foot, and I'd push out on that. And those exercises really significantly helped and pretty much took away the plantar fasciitis. And I've been battling with the plantar fasciitis for a very, very long time, and actually the broken leg helped me recover a lot from it. But then when I started getting active again, the plantar fasciitis started playing up again. But those little exercises seem to have really helped, and I do those multiple times a day. If it's causing me a problem, I probably should do it regularly, but I don't always remember. And I've got a heap of other things that I'm supposed to be doing and trying to keep up with as well. So it's a balancing act. Anyway, I am also having some significant challenges with depression and anxiety, which a lot of it's been brought on by the plethora of stresses that we've been having here on the homestead since we moved in. Basically, we've just been having a lot of challenges, and they're still not fixed, and I'll get there eventually. I'll do another update on the house, because that's just another level of challenge. And we've just had, so our insurance company rejected our claim from the floods, and now I've taken it to the insurance ombudsman, and the insurance ombudsman, I really don't feel like they gave me a chance to put my side of the situation across. But they've basically said that the insurance company is fine. Were well within their rights, which is ridiculous, because the insurance company, part of what they said was they took the weather information from a weather station that's been inactive since 2019, and tried saying we didn't get any rain that day. We got rain, and I found another weather station that was like next door and proved that that was an inactive weather station, and the active weather station said we did get rain. But anyway, no joy with the insurance company, and no joy with the insurance ombudsman. I'm making a complaint on that one, so I'm not giving up on that one yet. I nearly have. But that's created another extra bit of disappointment. And one thing I really want to I can't stress this enough, that if you've got challenges that you're going through, it is really, really important that you talk to someone. See a counsellor or see a therapist of some sort, or at very least talk to your friends, because a lot of times situations are not as bad as we think. Sometimes they're actually worse than we think they are. Other times they're just really not as bad as we think they are. And it is really, really important not to make a permanent decision based on a temporary problem. And after a brief interruption with a phone call, see, it's really important that we don't make permanent decisions based on temporary situations. And a lot of times things that can seem so overwhelming and over-encompassing and just absolutely dreadful, and they probably are dreadful. It's okay. It's okay to have a bad day. It's okay to have a bad week. But you need to talk to someone. And if that means talking to a counsellor or talking to a therapist or a psychologist or your GP or just a friend or a pastor, it's really important because it can help us to put things into perspective. And the other thing is, look at what's happening to other people around you, and reach out and try and help somebody else going through challenges. It's like at the moment I have two ladies that I've got a friend that over in Papua New Guinea, and she's a native in Papua New Guinea, and she runs a Christian school. And has a lot of kids there that are actually orphans that she's taking care of. But she also is not connected to any church or doesn't get any government funding at all. So she has some major financial challenges there, just trying to keep the school afloat. And her husband passed away, I think it was about 18 months to 2 years ago, from diabetes. Diabetes is a disease that should be fairly easily being able to manage. At least it is in Australia. Our medical system, it's not difficult to manage. But in Papua New Guinea, it's a massive problem. And then just over 12 months ago, she had vandals come in and they smashed the power inverter for the school. So she had a 3-phase power inverter. And we managed to raise funds to replace it. But they can't get one in. So there is no 3-phase power inverter or power meter to actually put in. So 12 months later, she's still running with no power. Last year, I think they did awards by running an extension lead from the next door neighbour's place. I've sent over a few solar powered lights, but sending things to Papua New Guinea is ridiculously expensive, and something that would cost 300 Australian dollars here costs nearly 2,000 Australian dollars there. And it's just insanity. Trying to get things to work over there for her is just really difficult. And she's got such a good attitude. She really does. She's always just positive, and she's doing the best with the cards that she's dealt. Because sometimes life deals us crappy cards. And it's not about what cards you get dealt. It's about how you deal with those cards. What do you do with them? Making the most of the cards that you are dealt. So you might get dealt disaster after disaster after disaster. But I remind myself that I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that he won't give me more than I can handle with his help. And I know that he carries me. I know that he is with me. I know that he is for me and not against me. I know that I have a future and a hope in him. Honestly, I don't know how people without Jesus cope. I really don't. Because my faith is the only thing that's keeping me going half the time. And knowing that I need to be here for my boys. But it's really, really important to make sure that if you are having any challenges, that you go and you get help. If you've gone through a big stressful situation, which in life, I guarantee you will have trauma at some level or another. You will have trauma. You will have trials. You will have tribulations. But be of good cheer. God has overcome the world. Jesus overcame the world. He's got the keys to death. Death no longer has a sting for us as Christians. And non-Christians, it's a different story. I find it difficult I don't know how to help. I don't know how to comfort them other than I'm thinking of them, and I've got a slasher going in the paddock at the moment, so I hope that's not too loud. And a fan going because it's hot. It's like 35 degrees Celsius here or something. It's not tragic, but I mean, and it gets a lot hotter. But it is not a sign of weakness to be struggling. It is not a sign of weakness when you're going through a situation that something significant and important has been taken off you. It is healthy to grieve. And there are healthy ways to grieve. And there are times, like with my vision being double and not being able to drive, I'm going through grief on that. And I'm going through the stages of denial, of anger, of all of those things. The important thing is it's okay to feel what you're feeling, but don't get stuck there. And I actually needed my counsellor to remind me of that. Now I know all this stuff. I've done heaps of personal development. I love learning new ways to be able to cope with challenges, because it's one thing my life seems to like throwing at me is challenges. Don't know why. Don't know. And at the moment I've got a few extra challenges, but I'm also learning some new tools because last year I got diagnosed with autism spectrum disorder. So I now know that I've got ASD and have had all of my life, and it's explaining a few things and learning more about autism and how my brain works and how other people's brain works and how they relate to me and how I relate to them. In some ways is helping me to be able to handle it and understand it. And I understand it now when I get a sensory overload. I understand what's going on, and I know, and I'm learning new techniques and new tools on how to process it and how to deal with it. And being kind to myself. Like part of the clinical trial, I had to go and get an MRI done. I don't know if you've ever done that, but they put you into the tunnel thing. And because they were doing scans on my eye sockets, they had a cage around my head and it was holding my head in place, and they had cushions everywhere and had me stuck in. And I think it's been exacerbated by living in the container house in such a small space with the boys and doing homeschooling in there, as well as cooking and cleaning and all that sort of living stuff. I mean, living in a tiny house is great, but it has its challenges, and when you're not organised, it's a really big problem. And we're not organised. We're working on it, but baby steps. But when I went into the MRI, I got a really bad panic attack and started getting very claustrophobic and ended up having to come out. And I used a lot of those techniques that I've been learning. So even the watch actually had taught me, it's been monitoring my sleeping. And I was getting a sleep score of about 34 and was barely getting into deep sleep, was waking up all the time. It was just a really, really big challenge. Anyway, the watch has got a sleep coach on it, and the sleep coach recommended that you do breathe in for 5, hold for 2, then breathe out. Breathe in for 5, hold for 2, breathe out for 5, and do that 30 times or 5 minutes. And interestingly, that has made a huge difference. And when I was going into the MRI, I was actually doing that. I was practicing that breathing to help calm me down. Well, actually, to help calm me down after the panic attack, I used that breathing technique, as well as praying and asking God to stay with me, to thanking God that He was with me and that I could do all things through Christ who strengthens me, and that I was safe. And that's one of the big things. When you're going through a lot of stress, your amygdala is just jacked up. It is really on high alert. And sometimes if you're going through a panic attack, the best thing you can actually do is say, I am safe. I am safe. I am safe. And if that is all you can say, just reminding yourself that you are safe, especially at the last part of the MRI when the machine started shuddering, that just set things off. And part of the Graves makes it so that I'm more irritable and more on edge. And just saying to myself, I'm safe, I am safe, I am safe. And doing the breathing just made a massive, massive impact. And it made it so I was able to get through the actual MRI, which now is a waste of time because I'm not part of the clinical trial. But there is a possibility that if I can manage to get my liver function back into normal range again, then I'll be able to be admitted into the trial. But we'll see how that goes. And it depends on how long it takes for my liver to improve. In the past, it has done it fairly quickly. Well, no. It started improving quickly. I'm not sure what the numbers actually did. I can't remember. I'd have to go back and look over blood tests. But at the moment, my gamma GT is up over 107, which is clearly not good. There was another thing that was up pretty high too. I can't remember what it was. Anyway, so my health's in a bit of a mess at the moment, and I really need support and encouragement on this low reactive diet. And I'll probably be sharing some of my meals. I've actually been going over and watching the videos that I made 2 years ago when I went on the low reactive diet then. And they were really encouraging. I was having some challenges there, but I was in a much better frame of mind than I am now. But yeah, at the moment, the not being able to drive is really, really hard. It's really hard. Not being able to get the boys to see their friends, not being able to get the boys to appointments, not being able to get to the physio, not being able to get to hydrotherapy, not being able to see friends. It's just really difficult. And I am still grieving that. And there are days when I still get very angry, which doesn't help. And I've got to remember to keep it calm. But on how my eyes are going, at the moment, when I get, let's see, it's not double when I'm looking straight ahead. Then when I get to there, it's double. There, it's double. There, it's double. There, it's double. Oh. So it's not, yeah, it's double there. So I'm really not being able to get very far. You can't really see where I'm going at, can you? Yeah, it's double there already. So about there is where it gets double. And there it's double. So really, my vision is quite bad at the moment. At the moment, if there might be something here and I'm seeing it, the second one's down. So it's not double that way, it's double that way. Occasionally it goes double that way, but most of the time it's double that way. So if I'm having a lot of troubles, I can actually close my eye and it goes back to single, so that helps. But it doesn't work for driving very well. And I'm not very good at doing that. I probably need to get an eye patch or something. I don't know. But yeah, so that's the health update. And yeah, life is a big challenge at the moment. Looking for good things where I can, trying to make a point of watching something happy and a comedy of some sort with Matthew in the evenings, just to help us both be able to cope with all the challenges that are being thrown our way. But that's basically life. Yeah. Anyway, I think Jonathan's needing my attention for something. Back in a minute. So yeah, it's really important that during the good times that you make a point of learning strategies and techniques to be able to cope when bad things happen, because bad things will happen. And I think a lot of us go through life thinking bad stuff's not going to happen. It's not going to happen to me. Bad stuff does happen. And you need to have strategies to be able to cope with it so that you don't end up completely overwhelmed and end up making a permanent decision for a temporary problem. And it's important to be able to have coping strategies for when bad stuff happens. Find a counsellor that you can talk to, build a rapport with them, because that can take time. Read books. Mark Viktor Frankl's Man's Search for Meaning is a book that is recommended a lot. Now, he's a gentleman that went through the Nazi camps and Auschwitz, I think it was, that he went through. I've been listening to a lot of Charles Spurgeon at the moment. He's got a good book called Beside Still Waters. And Charles Spurgeon has some really encouraging things and helps. He had a very difficult life and lived in a very difficult time when there were plagues and all sorts of things and people dropping dead all over the place. That made coronavirus look like a child's play in comparison. No, it's probably similar actually. But yeah, Charles Spurgeon's got some really encouraging stuff. And things to just help you think through, it's not that bad. My grandmother always used to say, this too shall pass. If it's a good time, it's not going to hang around. If it's a bad time, it will pass. It's not going to hang around forever. Things will change. That's one thing that's constant in life. Challenges and change. So, anyway, that's about it. Got Jonathan in the background playing on his iPad, which he doesn't usually get to do, so it's a bit of a special treat for today. And he's just finished a tutoring session. So yeah. But you're not alone. That even if you feel like you're alone, even if you are physically alone, God is always with you. He is always for you and he loves you. And somebody else has been through what you're going through. And there is a way forward. And sometimes it's just a matter of organising one little thing. And you don't need to be able to get everything done at once. Just do one thing a little bit better than the day before. Just take one more breath, if that's all you can manage. One breath. And breathe through the day. If you can't make it through the week, just make it through the day. If you can't make it through the day, just make it through the next hour. Take a lesson from Dory. Just keep on swimming, keep on swimming. When life closes doors, look for windows that have been opened. Because they're there. Sometimes they're hard to find. And finding things to be grateful is also a really important skill and a really important thing to be able to do when things are going bad, because then you can look back at when things were going well. And they won't always be going bad. There are seasons in life, just as there are seasons in the weather. But yeah, anyway, I hope you're all well and happy and things are growing well. And thanks for watching. This has been a bit of a long video, a bit of a ramble, sorry. But yes, I am going to be going back on the low reactive diet. Not the best time of year to be doing it, but I've done it before. I can do it again. I do need encouragement. Anyway, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Remember, you're either green and growing or you're ripe and rotting. Bless you.